Brother Marines, we return again on this day because the Lore of Leviathan. What is the background of the boxed set? Let's find out. We've seen what's inside the awesome Warhammer 40,000 Leviathan boxed set, and how it's bursting at the seams with new Space Marines and Tyranids. But what's going on in the Segmentum Pacificus? Here's Warhammer 40,000 lead writer Wade to tell us about the narrative of the box set. Let's see.
The Leviathan box is packed full of exciting new Space Marine and Tyranid miniatures that will tell a great story. The contents of the Leviathan box are telling a story that's probably typical of any number of war zones across the Bastior subsector, which is the region of space that an awful lot of the battles in the early part of the Fourth Tyrannic War take place in. We can see a number of different Tyranid creatures, including assimilator beasts, eater beasts, creatures that typically only turn up towards the latter stages of a planetary invasion. But the Space Marines have turned up with their own deep-striking, teleporting First Company strike force to disrupt and destabilize the Tyranid assault. This planet's probably already doomed, but if the Space Marines can effect victory, they can destabilize the Tyranids, they can drain the hive mind of biomass, they can force it to expend and waste resources, which is something that the hive mind never wants to do when it's conducting its invasions. If the Space Marines can't achieve victory here, it'll spell doom not only for this world, but also for the Imperial armies trying to gather themselves and prepare for fresh waves of Tyranid assaults. The Space Marine Strike Force includes a number of First Company squads and characters. You've got a Stern Guard veteran squad, who are equipped with a variety of different bolt rifles with specialist ammunition and combi weapons, so they can be targeting different Tyranid creatures and be sure of success. There's a Space Marine Terminator squad, equipped with Stormbolters, Power Fists and an Assault Cannon, who are capable of mowing down many times their own number of Tyranid enemies. The strike force is led by a captain and a librarian in Terminator armour, allowing them to go toe-to-toe with enormous Tyranid monstrosities. And a ballistas dreadnought equipped with las cannons and missile launchers, capable of taking out armoured organisms like a Carnifex. My favourite model in the box, and perhaps the most important member, is the Primaris Lieutenant, a representative of a previous expedition to this planet being recovered by this Space Marine Strike Force. So he is covered in trophies and improvised armour of defeated Tyranid creatures as he is fighting behind enemy lines for quite some time. If you prefer the idea of destroying, consuming the Imperium rather than fighting in its defence, the new Tyranid army in the Leviathan box has a whole host of new creatures, led by the Neurotyrant, a new type of synapse organism, a far more psychic creature than the existing Hive Tyrant, just as commanding, a little bit less combative, but a force magnifier for the shadow in the warp that precedes all the Tyranid invasions. The Neurotyrant is backed up by a winged Tyranid Prime as a bit of an enforcer, capable of flying in and dealing with any pesky Terminators that would threaten the Synapse creature in charge of the swarm. And there are some bigger creatures. The Psychophage, or Witch Eater, is an assimilator beast capable of consuming any biomass on the planet and kicking out all sorts of corrosive spores, but has a particular taste for psychic creatures, just like the Librarian in Terminator armor. And the Screamer Killer is perhaps the most iconic and recognisable representative of the Tyranid hive mind in this collection, a wonderful update to a classic design.
Wow. We're used to two things from previous Tyranid invasions. They happen in the Galactic East, and the Imperium is on the defensive. This time it's different. Hive Fleet Leviathan is attacking from the west, potentially opening a route to Holy Terra itself. And with this fearsome threat approaching the throne world, it's time for the Imperium to launch a desperate counterattack asterisk, indicating something at the end of the article, as featured here. The solution, according to the High Lords of Terra, the Soulblade fleets. If sending out fleets is good enough for the Roboute Gilliman when he's trying to reclaim the galaxy, then it should surely also be good enough to stop the latest Tyranid invasion. The Soulblade fleets are small, elite strike forces who aim to disrupt the Tyranid advance, attacking worlds already in Leviathan's shadow and seeking to destroy key synaptic control organisms. Leading one of these Soulblades is Severus Ageman, captain of the Ultramarines 1st Company as featured here. Accompanying 1st Captain Ageman on his assaults are his veteran warriors, Terminator Librarians, and Triple Asterix, and Stern Guard to name a few, but one weapon is at his disposal, the Apothecary Biologus, taking samples of new Tyranid bioforms so that way more can be learned about them, and new ways to kill them can be found. In this war, information is crucial. as featured here. Will this more aggressive approach by the Space Marines work, or will the Tyranids overwhelm the Imperium's finest, as we saw in the jaw-dropping cinematic trailer? Only time will tell, but we'll have loads more to show, or they'll have loads more to show. We'll just kind of talk about it, I suppose, in the Leviathan boxed set as we approach the release. Wow! Tyranids, this is just like having a takeaway delivered straight to them. And all we know is the first company has serious beef with the Tyranids. Wow. The Librarians will need to be careful of the new psychophage, as it has developed a liking for psychers. They taste like chicken, apparently. Wow!